operational successes across all operational theaters during the month, as mentioned earlier, through sustained coordinated operations, employing strategic joint land patrols, close air support and intelligence-led engagements. Troops systematically degraded the operational capabilities of the Boko Haram, the Islamic State West Africa, to be known subsequently as ISWAP, the proscribed indigenous people of Biafra, Ipob, and its armed wing, the Eastern Security Network, to be known as ESN, as well as kidnapping syndicates, illegal oil bunkering cartels, and cross-border arms traffickers. The cumulative operational records of ongoing counter-terrorism, counter-banditry, counter-kidnapping, economic sabotage interdiction, and anti-proliferation of small arms and light weapons collectively reflects the enduring commitment of a professional and resolute force that is dedicated to restoring peace, stability, and confidence across every geopolitical zone of the country. This briefing will therefore provide a comprehensive overview of operational progress, will highlight key achievements, and outline ongoing efforts to address evolving security dynamics across the country. We will also share insights into measures that have been implemented to consolidate the gains and enhance operational effectiveness in all the theaters. Quickly, let me now start from the Joint Task Force Northeast, Operation Hadinkai. Troops of Operation Hadinkai maintained sustained kinetic pressure on the Boko Haram and ISWAP networks across Adamawa, Borno, and Yobe states, executing high-impact clearance operations, targeted rescues, and decisive interdictions of terrorist supply chains throughout the month. Troops neutralized 76 terrorist fighters, arrested 97 terrorists, rescued 465 kidnapped victims, and facilitated the surrender of 11 insurgents and their families. The landmark operation for the quarter was executed on the 6th of June, when troops conducted a highly sophisticated multi-axis raid across the Mandara Mountains in Goza local government area, Borno State, rescuing 360 civilians, predominantly women and children, who had been held in captivity since their abduction from Ngoshe on the 3rd of March this year. All survivors were subsequently evacuated to the General Hospital Goza for urgent medical treatment. On the 21st, troops evacuated 27 surrendered terrorists and their family members from the Jemu area in Kukawa local government area of Borno State and lifted them to Maiduguri for medical attention and processing, while on the 24th, 53 civilians and 8 hijacked vehicles were rescued along the Buratai-Kamuya road. Troops also repelled several attacks during the month. On the 18th, troops repelled a coordinated terrorist attack on multiple locations in Buratai district of Biu local government area, recovered an AK-47 rifle and over 200 rounds of assorted ammunition. Then on the 27th, troops foiled a planned terrorist attack on Rigange community in Lamrude local government area, Adamawa State, neutralized 1 terrorist and recovered 3 AK-47 rifles, 4 magazines, and 26 rounds of 7.62 millimeter special ammunition. On the 28th, 5 suspected kidnappers at Magumeri local government area of Borno State were also neutralized. They were attempting to snatch weapons from troops during a weapons recovery operation. Then on the 29th, troops conducted another fighting patrol in Gundili area of Lamrude local government of Adamawa State. They engaged suspected Sobo militia members. As a result of the encounter, troops recovered 3 AK-47 rifles, 2 Dane guns, 7 AK-47 magazines, and 190 rounds of 7.62 millimeter ammunition, while maintaining dominance in the area to prevent any security breach. Beyond kinetic engagements, troops systematically dismantled terrorist support infrastructure through aggressive combat operations and logistics interdictions across the theater. Surrendered individuals continued to come forward across the period, including 2 teenage girls at Polka in Goza local government area on the 19th, a woman and her infant child at Cross Kawa in Kukawa local government area on the 26th, an additional 8 escapees, including a widow of a civilian joint task force member on the 21st. Critical intelligence breakthroughs on the 14th led to the arrest of suspected terrorist collaborator Abubakar Usman alias Buba at the government secondary school IDP camp in Goza, whose confessions guided the subsequent operation on the 16th of June at Isge community, Goza local government area. This resulted in the apprehension of one Modu Auta, a Sambisa forest-based collaborator who further exposed additional local facilitators currently being actively tracked. On the 11th, 11 suspected collaborators were also intercepted in 2 vehicles at Kekeno in Kukawa local government area, further degrading terrorist intelligence and logistics networks. Then on the 22nd, 2 suspected terrorist spies were neutralized at Banki in Bama local government area after being observed crossing the border fence into Nigeria to monitor troop movements. On the 29th, following a terrorist attack and the abduction of students from the government day secondary school in Lassa, in Askira Oba, troops swiftly responded and launched a pursuit operation against the attackers. Troops subsequently made contact with the terrorists and successfully defeated them, resulting in the rescue of 7 school children, as well as a class teacher, and the recovery of 7 motorcycles. However, a soldier and a member of the civilian joint task force paid the ultimate price during the encounter. May their souls rest in peace. Overall, during the quarter, troops neutralized 484 terrorist fighters, arrested 370 terrorists, rescued 595 kidnapped victims, and facilitated the surrender of 38 insurgents and their families. Having looked at Operation Hadinkai, let us now proceed to consider the events in Joint Task Force Northwest, Operation Fansanyama. Troops of Operation Fansanyama conducted decisive operations against terrorists and criminal networks across Kaduna, Katsina, Kebbi, and Zamfara states, recording multiple neutralizations and significant arms recoveries throughout the period. During the month, troops neutralized 33 terrorists, arrested 165 terrorists, and rescued 51 kidnapped victims. Clearance and patrol operations across Faskari and Jibia local government areas in Katsina State, Birnin Magaji, Maru, Zurmi, Shinkafi, and Gumi local government areas in Zamfara State, and Dandi and Arewa Dandi local government areas in Kebbi State, resulted in the neutralization of at least 19 terrorists and the recovery of numerous firearms, hundreds of rounds of ammunition, motorcycles, an RPG launcher tube, and IED chargers. Notably, on the 22nd, troops neutralized 4 terrorists at Ginchawa village, Matazu local government area of Katsina State. They recovered 2 PKT machine guns, an AK-47 magazine, 75 rounds of linked NATO ammunition, and a camouflage uniform. On the 23rd, an ambush in Shinkafi local government area yielded a PKT machine gun, 2 motorcycles, the chains that are usually used to hold kidnapped victims, and 8 pairs of military uniforms, indicating criminal efforts to impersonate security personnel. On the 26th, 2 suspected terrorist collaborators were arrested at Wanki in Gusau local government area with incriminating materials recovered from their mobile phones. While on the 27th, 2 terrorists were neutralized and 2 AK-47 rifles were captured at Sabarumawa Arewadandi local government area of Kebbi State. Troops also achieved significant gains in arms interdiction and rescue operations across the theater. On the 4th of June, a notorious terrorist kingpin was arrested while concealing himself among traders at the Shinkafi Weekly Market. And then on the 5th, at a snap vehicle checkpoint on the Gusau Shinkafi route, a vehicle was intercepted and a locally fabricated 9mm pistol, 1,002 rounds of 7.62mm by 39mm ammunition, and additional pistol rounds concealed in a sack were recovered. The suspect, Malam Mustafa Abubakar, was arrested and troops subsequently tracked down and apprehended the intended arms recipient at Tupa village in Shinkafi local government area. On the 20th, coordinated covert operations led to the arrest of 3 suspects with demonstrated links to terrorist activities during the arrival and processing of a pilgrim flight at Gusau International Airport in Zamfara State. Rescue operations further reinforced the theater's achievements. Between the 12th and the 15th of June, 7 kidnapped victims who had escaped captivity in the Bagega forest were rescued at Gwashi in Bukuyum local government area of the state. 2 abducted passengers were also liberated in Sanga local government area of Kaduna State, and 3 abducted civilians were rescued in Zurmi in Zamfara State. All this collectively reflecting the multidimensional impact of sustained operations in the Northwest Zone. On the 28th, 3 logistics suppliers were arrested at Kakargo local government area of Kaduna State in possession of 69 jerrycans of fuel, which were destined for terrorist elements and were subsequently handed over to the Department of State Services. Overall, during the period, troops neutralized 77 terrorist fighters, arrested 210 terrorists, and rescued 153 kidnapped victims. We also facilitated the surrender of 1 terrorist. Now, a look at Joint Task Force North Central Operation Savannah Shield. Troops of Operation Savannah Shield conducted targeted offensive operations that delivered measurable security gains across Kwara, Niger, Ogun, and Oyo states. During the month, troops arrested 19 terrorists and rescued 4 kidnapped victims. On the 30th of May, troops executed a fighting patrol to Golbi community in Borgu local government area of Niger State, and on withdrawal, effectively repelled a terrorist ambush between Golbi and Sabongeri community, neutralizing scores of terrorists, and recovered 15 motorcycles and 253 rounds of 7.62mm NATO ammunition. Multiple IEDs planted along the withdrawal route were successfully detonated in situ by the troops. That's where they met them. On the 17th, troops engaged approximately 20 motorcycle-mounted terrorists at Nakawala and Gogola villages in Shiroro local government area of Niger State. Further operations during the period yielded a series of high-value arrests that significantly disrupted terrorist networks across the north-central region. On the 4th, a high-value terrorist informant who had long been on the security forces watch list was arrested at Kara Market, Wawa, in Borgo local government area of Niger State, and is currently undergoing interrogation. Then on the 6th, 3 suspected terrorists and informants were arrested during operations within the Wawa-Doro axis in Borgo local government area of the state, with a recovered mobile phone containing photographs of a beheaded individual dated 2nd of May this year. The phones also contained recorded terrorist propaganda. On the 16th, following the sustained surveillance, one Mrs. Hafsat Bello was arrested near Ndeji town in Edu, local government area of Kwara State. She is the wife of a notorious terrorist kingpin known as Alta Ilori. Her preliminary interrogation provided significant intelligence regarding her husband's criminal network. Then on the 17th, 2 additional suspects whose links to the failed kidnapping of school children at Ilukebunu in Kababunu local government area of Kogi State were confirmed arrested at Ndeji village, Edu, local government area of Kwara State. On the 16th, 4 suspected terrorists were also arrested at a correctional farm center in Ogbomosho South local government area of Oyo State, with preliminary profiling revealing incriminating photographs and confessions of direct involvement in terrorist activity. In a related development, on the 28th of June, troops of Chikanda arrested 2 suspected kidnappers informants at a Blue Hotel in Chikanda in Baruten local government area of Kwara State. Preliminary investigations revealed that the suspects were gathering intelligence to support a kidnap operation targeting the community members. The suspects remain in custody for further investigation and necessary action. Overall, in Operation Savannah Shield area, during the quarter, troops were able to neutralize 24 terrorists, arrested 48 terrorists, and rescued 38 kidnapped victims. Now, to Joint Task Force North Central, Operation Enduring Peace. Troops of Operation Enduring Peace recorded consistent successes in disrupting kidnapping networks and restoring the security of transit corridors in southern Kaduna and Plateau states. During the month, troops neutralized 5 terrorists, arrested 87 terrorists, and rescued 18 kidnapped victims. They also recovered arms and ammunition in multiple targeted raids. On the 1st of June, troops patrolling Angwangora village in Sanga local government area of Kaduna State discovered an abandoned passenger vehicle on the highway and immediately launched an immediate search and rescue operation, successfully rescuing 5 kidnapped passengers and evacuated 2 injured victims to the General Hospital in Gwantu. On the 5th, troops recovered 6 passengers from an abandoned vehicle along the Hawan Kibo Rafin Sayin Road in Riyom local government area of Plateau State, following reports of abductors blocking the route. Then on the 10th, 2 passengers were rescued at Kasa village in Barkenladi local government area after breaking free from their abductors, while a joint military sweep in Kafin Habu Fulani hamlets in the same local government on the same date led to the arrest of 2 wanted kidnappers positively identified by former victim. On the 21st, a suspected terrorist was intercepted at the checkpoint in Gwagwalada Area Council in the Federal Capital Territory. He was found in possession of 3 mobile phones. Forensic examination revealed photographs of suspects brandishing arms, ammunition, and large sums of cash, which provided compelling evidence of his involvement in terrorist activities. Complementing these operations, targeted patrols and arrests yielded multiple weapons recoveries and further disruption of criminal networks. On the 7th of June, a cordon operation at Mungi village in Mangu local government area of Plateau State resulted in the arrest of a suspected kidnapper's informant and the recovery of a concealed pistol from his residential compound. Then, on the 13th, a suspected kidnapper and cattle rustler was apprehended in Hurti village in Bokos local government area of Plateau State. On the 14th, Mr. Danjuma Yusuf, a former police inspector who had earlier been dismissed from service, was arrested at Makera in Riom local government area of Plateau State. He was found in possession of 2 locally fabricated pistols, 167 rounds of 9mm ammunition, and photographs of himself in police uniform. Then on the 15th, stop and search operations in Jaba local government area of Kaduna State led to the arrest of Mr. Francis Yakubu, who was found carrying a loaded, locally fabricated pistol and an AK-47 magazine loaded with 9 rounds of 7.62mm special ammunition. Investigation is ongoing to unravel the wider criminal networks from which all these individuals are sourcing their weapons. Overall, during the quarter, troops neutralized 32 terrorists, arrested 171 terrorists, and rescued 86 kidnapped victims. Having looked at Operation Safe Corridor, let us now move over to the Joint Task Force North Central Operation Wellstroke with headquarters in Makurdi, Benue State. Troops of Operation Wellstroke demonstrated sustained kinetic operations against armed groups, kidnappers, and criminal networks across Benue, Kogi, Nasarawa, and Taraba states. They recorded significant kinetic and arms interdiction successes throughout the period. During the month, troops neutralized 3 terrorists, arrested 26 terrorists, and rescued 4 kidnapped victims. Meanwhile, on the 30th of May, 1 terrorist was neutralized at a known crossing point in Jakura community in Lokoja local government area of Kogi State with an AK-47 rifle, 5 magazines, and 70 rounds of 7.62mm special ammunition recovered. On the 1st of June, 5 suspects were arrested at an illegal mining site in Karu, local government area of Nasarawa State, and 7 explosives, a detonating cord, and associated equipment were recovered from them. On the 21st, troops intercepted a vehicle on the Sokoto-Kano Highway, which was en route to Kogi State. And despite the courier's escape, the courier was able to escape on foot. We were able to recover 2 AK-47 rifles, 9 magazines, 67 rounds of 7.62mm special ammunition, 2 Beretta pistols, 2 Baofeng handheld radios, and 3 camouflage jackets. This interception demonstrably disrupted a significant arms supply pipeline into the North Central Zone. On the 22nd, a suspect found in possession of 174 rounds of 7.62mm special ammunition was arrested along the Toto Abaji Road, Nasarawa State. On the 28th, troops at Tordonga Yam Market in Katsina Ala local government area of Benue State neutralized 2 terrorists of 1 Konyo's gang. They were identified as Dan Taraba and Gozolo. Troops recovered an AK-47 rifle, a damaged pistol with a magazine, and assorted ammunition. The theater recorded significant achievements in rescue operations and kinetic engagements across the region. On the 3rd, Mrs. Adeyemi Idowu and her 6-month-old child were successfully rescued near Ijalu, Egbe, in Yagba West local government area of Kogi State, following abduction from their residence. Then on the 7th, 13 passengers were rescued along the Lokoja Obajana Kaba Road in Lokoja local government, Kogi State, following a reported attack on a commercial vehicle. On the 9th, troops intercepted terrorists attempting to cross with kidnapped victims at Ogbe in Yaba West local government area of Kogi State, rescuing a bar manager and a sales attendant who had been abducted in a Jumo local government area on the 6th of June. On the 11th of June, search operations at Ugokolo in Opoku local government area of Benue State yielded the rescue of several victims and the arrest of 3 suspected kidnappers. Then, on the 16th of June, one suspected terrorist informant, known as Shaibu Issa, was arrested at Adankolo Forest in Lokoja local government area of Kogi State, having confessed to providing target information on communities to criminal networks. On the 17th, 5 traumatized victims were released by fleeing terrorists following an airstrike on a criminal camp and immediately were stabilized at a military medical facility at the same location. Overall, during the quarter, troops neutralized 37 terrorist fighters, arrested 86 terrorists, and rescued 59 kidnapped victims. Let us now move over to Joint Task Force South-South Operation Delta Safe. Troops of Operation Delta Safe conducted sustained operations across Akwa Ibom, Bayelsa, Cross River, Delta, Edo, and River States, successfully dismantling kidnapping networks and neutralized individuals who were engaged in organized violent criminality. During the month, troops neutralized 6 terrorists, arrested 53 terrorists, dismantled 7 illegal refining sites, and recovered over 308,515 liters of assorted petroleum products. On the 1st of June, a preemptive raid at Idu Mogbo community in Esan Central local government area of Edo State resulted in the arrest of 4 kidnappers who had finalized plans to abduct a medical professional and the widow of a senior military officer. On the 2nd of June, 2 suspects were arrested at Auchi, Etsako West local government area, Edo State, for the murder of a farmer during a failed abduction on the 27th of May. 5 suspected kidnappers were arrested at Emuado in Esan West local government area, Edo State, on the 7th of June. An active kidnapping syndicate member and a co-conspirator, Abdul Salim Adama, were apprehended at Ekpoma, Esan West local government area, on the 16th of June. And a wanted kidnapper, Musadik Tanimu, was arrested at Igo community, Ovia Northeast local government area, Edo State, on the 17th of June 2026, this year. On the 22nd, 2 suspected kidnappers were arrested at Ososo community in Akoko Edo local government area of Edo State, following their identification by one Mrs. Success Sikiru, who had been adopted with her husband and an infant on the 11th of May this year, along the Egbetua Okpela Road, with syringes and drug tablets recovered from the suspects, which indicates a pattern of chemical incapacitation of victims. On the 23rd, one Friday, Agbiloson and Mr. Hamed Salisu were rescued from a kidnapper's hideout in Uhiere Forest, Ovia Northeast local government area of Edo State, and on 25th of June, 3 suspects were arrested at Baleb community, Ikom local government area of Cross River State, with 2 guns, a locally made pistol, A camouflage jacket, cartridges, and web equipment were also recovered. Troops also recorded extensive disruption of illegal oil bunkering and economic sabotage activities, which led to the protection of critical national infrastructure across the Niger Delta region. On the 4th, an illegal siphoning rig and connecting infrastructure were discovered and appropriately handled at Okarki Forest in Ahwada West local government area of Rivers State. On the 7th, a vehicle conveying approximately 1,200 liters of suspected illegally refined automotive gas oil was intercepted along the Eket-Etinan Road in Eket local government area of Akwa Ibom State. Then on the 9th of June, a trampoline tank containing approximately 4,000 liters of stolen crude oil and illegal refining infrastructure was discovered at Amukpe in Sapele local government area of Delta State. On the 15th of June, a commercial truck conveying approximately 45,000 liters of illegally purchased black oil was impounded along Stadium Road, Uyo local government area of Akwa Ibom State, and a large wooden boat laden with an estimated 20,000 liters of illegally refined automated gas oil was intercepted at Buguma Base, Asari Toru local government area of Rivers State. A major bunkering fuel dump was also raided in the Pansia General area in Yenagua local government area, Bayelsa State on the 16th of June. Between the 19th and the 22nd of June, troops collectively intercepted approximately 103,500 liters of suspected illegally refined automated gas oil at the APS Limited Jetty in Woji, Rivers State, 63,290 liters of suspected illegally refined AGO along the Orashi Forest Corridor in Abua, Odua local government area of Rivers State, and approximately 45,000 liters of suspected adulterated AGO along the Itu, Calabar Road in Itu local government area of Akwa Ibom State, collectively representing a major blow to organize illicit fuel distribution networks in the region. Overall, during the quarter, troops neutralized 6 criminal elements, arrested 84 criminals, destroyed 12 illegal refining sites, and recovered over 464,268 liters of petroleum products, including crude oil, automotive gas oil, dual-purpose kerosene, and premium motor spirit. Now, let us move over to Joint Task Force Southeast Operation Udoka. Troops of Operation Udoka recorded landmark successes in decapitation operations against the proscribed Ipob and its armed wing, the ESN, across Abia, Anambra, Enugu, and Imo states. During the month, troops neutralized 6 criminals and arrested 39 suspects. On the 9th of June, troops arrested 6 suspected Ipob ESN members at Nenwe Community, Anenri local government area of Enugu State. A follow-up exploitation of a suspected arms cache disguised as a piggery in Gariki, Enugu South local government area yielded a general-purpose machine gun, an RPG-7 tube, 3 AK-47 rifles, 2 hand grenades, and 748 rounds of assorted ammunition. On the 10th, a raid on a suspected Ipob ESN safe house at Agbami, Nkanu West local government area, Enugu State, recovered 8 AK-47 rifles, 12 magazines, 323 rounds of ammunition, and 10 pairs of Ipob uniforms. On the 15th, suspected Ipob and ESN commander Chima Ejiofor Emmanuel, alias Morocco, was arrested at Life Care Maternity Hospital, Okigwe local government area, Imo State, where he was recuperating from surgery. Preliminary investigation confirmed his active membership and participation in the group's activities since 2025. On the 23rd, troops made contact with Ipob and ESN members who were dressed in military and police uniforms along the Ogboji-Ajali Road in Orumba South local government area of Anambra State. Troops neutralized 3 terrorists and recovered a PKM machine gun, 2 AK-47 rifles, 2 improvised explosive devices, a vehicle, 10 Android mobile phones, and Nigerian police uniform. Troops also recorded significant gains in dismantling criminal networks and disrupting illicit economic activities. On the 2nd of June, troops rescued village chiefs who had been held hostage at Ebeta Primary School in Ohauku local government area of Ebonyi State. Troops arrested 3 suspects, including the principal perpetrator, Mr. Osundu Ngbada, alias Tail, and Presido, who were subsequently handed over to the Nigerian police.